Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the Entrenched seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which every unit and artifact that we play gets resilience. Today we're combining one of the newly reworked cards with one of the most powerful archetypes in the game. So let's go give it a look. So today we'll be playing a Northern Realm Stockpile deck with a combination of lots of siege engines, with the new Sihil card, but some of you guys had expressed interest in us combining this with Siege. So the idea with Sihil is that we'll deal damage, and if we get the death blow, then we can play a bronze card from our hand as well, and then put Sihil back into our hand. And if that's the first thing that we've done on our turn, then Sihil will increase in damage, so initially with just 1 damage, it's rather difficult to set up that death blow. But if you do proc that ability a few times, by the time it gets up to 3 or 4 power, then it starts to become much more feasible, until it becomes a reliable source of removal. Then, as I said, other than that, the focus is on a whole bunch of siege engines like Raffard's Vengeance to help us get even more bronze cards on the board. Just bear in mind that between Raffard's Vengeance and Sihil, you're going to be playing a whole lot of bronze cards, so you probably do need to have a fair number in your hand if you have Raffard's Vengeance and or Sihil. Foltest Pride, a siege engine for tons of damage. War Chariot for a combination of bleeding and or movement. Damage with the Trebuchet. Damage with the Ballista. And some vitality with the siege tower. Then once you have a lot of those siege engines on the board, you can use Bombardment for a lot of damage, and or use Rivian Pikeman to help reduce the cooldowns of all those siege engines. Then we have soldiers to help activate the crew abilities of many of those siege engines, and Henselt is chief among them because he gets us one of our crew cards from our deck onto the board, and will also get boosted when he's next to cards that have cooldowns. Donimir, who we'd like to use to help protect some of those big cards. Trollololo, who is a soldier, and because we have so many order abilities on all those siege engines, will get a lot of boosts as well when we use his order ability. Redanian Archer for even more damage. Just bear in mind that he will lose his armor in between rounds, so that means no more ability to gain additional charges, so this is mostly either a round 1 play, and you're only getting the big value in round 1, after that it's purely just for the crew setup, or you play him in round 3, and obviously at that point, resilience is no longer a factor. He's not going to lose his armor going into the next round, because there is no next round. Kerack Marine for the boosts, and Redanian Knight for the long-term boosts as well. Also worth noting that I put Sabrina in our deck because we have a lot of damage, and if our opponent stacks a bunch of their units in the same row, we can hit Sabrina and deal 3 damage to all of them, giving us the potential to deal even more damage, and serving as a potential Sihil target. Then we have Tesham Mutna's Sword, which is our key tull removal card, because since basically every unit is going to have at least 1 status, that means we'll have at least 10 damage on the Tesham Mutna's Sword. So there's a look at the deck, and like I said, it is all about stacking up as many siege engines as possible and powering those units up with some soldiers, with a couple of legendary swords thrown in. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and they'll go first. Okay, and let's see, so we have Henselt, that's obviously great. We have Royal Decree, which we could use to get, maybe even Donimir to help protect Henselt, since he can, of course, tutor in one of our big siege engines. Then I'm thinking we probably dump this Kerack Marine, especially because we do have several soldiers here, so not as in need of it for crew procs. But, oh, Sihil, do we have enough bronze cards to work with that? We've some, not a huge amount, but it's certainly an option to go that route. I just don't love the double siege tower, but I think we'll make this work. Okay, they'll start with Artorias Vigo, which, hold on, is it mill or is it assimilate? It looks like it's assimilate. So, these cards will, of course, be engines that get bigger over time, and it does also mean we have a nice and easy Sihil target, so I think we might as well take that opportunity. And with it, which of our bronzes do we like most? Maybe the Reinforced Trebuchet, since they did put this Artorias Vigo in the range row, so we will get some damage out of it. Definitely not going to want to do Rivian Pikeman yet. I guess it's either the Reinforced Trebuchet or the Siege Tower, which is probably not as big of a deal, and this can help set up our next Sihil, because if they don't boost Artorias Vigo with Assimilate, then Sihil will be able to take him out. Okay, it's Moondust, which will destroy our Trebuchet, but it will not boost up Artorias Vigo, so I think that's fine. We'll take out one of their engines, and we'll get one of ours on the board here, and again, probably not the best time for the Pikeman, so we'll go Siege Tower. And throw on the Vitality. And as I was saying, we have obviously some bronze cards here, but not a ton, so maybe looking to slow down on the Sihil soon. Although obviously at 3 power, it's starting to get closer to the easy removal range. Wow. Leader building on a siege tower? With no other units in the row to give that a boost? That is rather surprising. Don't know if they're about to steal our leader building or perhaps play Damien. Yep, okay. That's why. That's why they did it. It does mean, for what it's worth, that yes, we do have the ability to get rid of Anna Henrietta with Sihil, and then we'd be playing another bronze card, which means another siege tower or another Rivian, or our first Rivian Pikeman, but we still don't really have the siege engines on the board for it. The somewhat awkward thing about Sihil has been that it's meant we haven't yet gotten Henselt or something bigger than Henselt on the board, which is a more powerful engine than all these bronzes that we've been playing. So maybe there is something to be said for not rushing in to taking out Anna Henrietta here. What if we do go Royal Decree and we get Donimir down here? Obviously, he's not an engine, but what he does do is, because he is, of course, a defender, means we can more safely play some of our bigger cards in the range row here. Okay, well, they did have the Purification. We did see that before, so I suppose Donimir dodged the first one of those, but not the second. Oh, and they will boost up Anna Henrietta here. Okay, so yeah, maybe that's all the more reason for us to drop the Sihil stuff for the time being, and maybe we'll take that back up in round 2 or round 3. But now that they've done all that Purification, do we feel safer about doing something bigger? Like, obviously, Henselt would be huge, or even Trollololo, but we don't really have order abilities now that they've locked the siege tower. So I think we may be looking at going Henselt here. And technically speaking, we don't need to put him in the range row anymore. I mean, with no defender, or functionally no defender, I guess we'll split our units a bit here. And whatever we play is vulnerable to getting shut down in some way, shape, or form, but unfortunately we don't really have a workaround for that at the moment. I guess we'll go... might even go Foltest Pride. What with the units being next to each other, and what with us having used several of our bronze units thus far. We just didn't have that many left. So Sihil and Raffard's Vengeance do compete to a certain extent with each other for access to those bronze cards. Okay, Ring of Favor. Don't see it as often these days, but it is a big boost. And they do have our leader building now, so, I mean, it's not a huge setup for them, but it's something. And so now what we'd probably like to do is get crew by putting a soldier on the other side of Foltest Pride here. So, at the moment, that means it's probably Trollololo, because Rivian Pikeman still just doesn't quite have enough siege engines to justify it, I don't think. I mean, we do now have Volunteer, which, is a potential Sihil target. It doesn't have the resilience since it got spawned in, so it's not as high a priority. It's also not an engine, so it's not really doing much here. But, I mean, I guess it is open for the taking, so sure. I guess we'll take it, and we'll hold off on Rivian Pikeman for the moment. So I get the feeling they may have even more Purification where all that other Purification came from. It seems like that may just be their overarching strategy. So I am a little nervous about playing all of our big cards, in that melee row. That's a little surprising that they chose to purify a unit that was locked. I mean, it does get rid of the resilience, yes, I'm pretty sure we still had that on at the time. But then again, did we like to have it back and able to use its ability? Yes. So, thanks for that. We can get rid of the Peller with our Sihil. This would probably be the last one we'd be looking to play here, because if we go this route, obviously it can destroy the Peller. We can get the Rivian Pikeman down here. Still not absolutely loving the lack of siege engines in the melee row. I mean, we have some, don't get me wrong, but would we rather give crew to the Siege Tower or Foltest Pride. I mean, short term this is better, long term this is probably better. It is close to the end of the round, but I think we still go big here, because we do have a pretty large lead in round 1 at the moment, so I think we can be thinking bigger picture. Because if these do get carried over into round 2, then this will be better. Okay, yep, exactly. This is what I was expecting to see. So the thing about that is that the Spring Equinox did not put any points on the board for them. So yes, it means we won't get the carryover from Henselt, Foltest Pride, or even Rivian Pikeman, but they've played one more card than us, and we are in the lead. So, I think we still pass here. And it puts us in an interesting place, where either they have card disadvantage in round 2, and we still have the round 1 win and we can push, or we can dry pass, give them the round 2 win, and we'll still have last say in round 3, and we'll have even more card advantage then. Okay, they're continuing to purify. They didn't really have any purification targets, so I'm a little confused as to why they're doing that. Sometimes what you see people do is they will deliberately try to put a bunch of assimilate units on the, or rather, just units in general, on the board in round 1 and just lean on that carryover with the resilience here. It is enough for them to take the round 1 win, so that's what they're going for, is they have 2 engines that will carry over, or 2 cards that will carry over into the next round, one of which is an engine, one of which is not. But, sure, you may have 2 units carrying over, we have 2 more cards than you. So, I don't love the strategy that they're going for here. We'll see if we can punish them. Not a huge fan of the Kerack Marine. How are we doing in terms of our soldiers here? I mean, we would still perhaps like to have more bronzes available to us to continue to play Sihil, and we have 4 right now, so that is a lot. We would like to have units probably, though, so that we are capable of getting some carryover going from round 2 into round 3, because that will set us up for a big advantage in round 3, which is the downside of the strategy that they deployed, where they're all in on round 2, basically, and if it goes to round 3, they are in some serious trouble. I think we'll still get rid of you. We'll take Oneiromancy. Yeah, I think that is a trade that is worth making. Okay, so it's Emissary to give them a boost, and it does get this Imperial Diviner out of Sihil removal range. We could still go after Anna Henrietta. She's not going to continue to do anything. She's already used her ability, but she is a 3-power body, and we can still get a bronze unit on the board. Yeah, we're definitely not going to be looking at Bombardment yet, I don't think. Although I am wondering, with Oneiromancy, what are we planning to do here? I mean, if they load up on a bunch of units in the same row, then Sabrina could be a huge play. Raffard's Vengeance is definitely our best unit that we have remaining, and that's a card that we would like to play early. So, it is kind of tempting to go that route. But I think maybe what we do here is we do go Sihil, we get Anna Henrietta, we'll use maybe even a preemptive Rivian Pikeman to help try to set up the crew for the future Raffard's Vengeance play. Or we could just go Reinforced Ballista. Let's go Reinforced Ballista. Don't need to make it any more complicated than it has to be. Okay, Emissary, okay, they're just boosting up this Imperial Diviner like crazy. I wish it had some statuses on it still. It lost the resilience from round 1 into round 2, so that means Tesham Mutna's sword is not nearly as effective as it would have otherwise been. And yeah, unfortunately, that is our sort of designated toll removal card. So now, Sihil is not capable of destroying you. So this is probably the right time to be going Oneiromancy into a Raffard's Vengeance. Now, we don't have a ton of time in this round to make this happen, but of course, we could use our leader ability to power this up. And I think, given how we do not have the crew set up here, and we don't want to have them doing what they did to us in the previous round, and purify all of our best cards, let's split them between 2 different rows here. Okay, well, I suppose the Heat Wave shouldn't be that surprising. Again, ideally we would have played Raffard's Vengeance in round 1 behind Donimir, but they purified Donimir, so that wasn't an option. And it does mean that although they got rid of one of our best cards, they do not put up any more points. So, the Imperial Diviner does not have resilience. The boost, of course, wouldn't even carry over even if it did. So, once again, they are all in on this round. We actually will get some carryover from the emissaries if those stay on the board. So they've helped us a little bit in that sense. Let's probably get the Trollololo down here. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of setup right now, but we'll go for that. And then hit you. Okay, well, more purification. Suppose we shouldn't be terribly surprised. Now we do have a target for Sihil. It is a little bit overkill on the damage, but this is an engine, and it would have resilience if we don't get rid of it, so there's definitely something to be said for taking it out. So I think we do go that route. And I was planning on going Rivian Pikeman on this turn anyway, so I think we'll take that. And, you know, was gonna put some of them all in the same row here. I mean, Pikeman does kind of need to be in the same row as our siege engine, so I think this does need to happen. Does make me a little nervous about additional purification. I mean, even if that is the case, then of course we will still have card advantage going to the next round. Wish we had a little more in the way of points here, but they will purify. Yes, not exactly the way I was expecting them to do it, but it does mean that they play their last card. We will not have any units carrying over, but we will likely have card advantage here. So what is our preferred way of making this happen? Probably not Sihil, because that does not have Death Blow. Bombardment. I mean, we have one siege engine. It's something, but it's not amazing. Tesham Mutna Sword is just 5 damage, but that actually is sufficient. I think we might still want to wait for that. I mean, none of our cards here are ideal, but I think we probably go Bombardment. And then, yeah, we're not going to get the resilience on you, so we might as well just use all of your order abilities. Even if they aren't exactly perfectly set up here. So that means we'll win round 2. And this is what I was saying, was the risk they were taking. They went all in on round 2. They got the units carrying over with resilience, whereas we did not, but we had card advantage, so we were still able to take them out. And that means round 3, they may have purified all of our units again, except for these emissaries, so we have a tiny bit of carryover. But we have card advantage, 2 card advantage still. So that's going to be a difficult advantage for them to overcome. Let's see, War Chariot, in theory, may be our strongest card left. Okay, well, or it's a Redanian Knight. I mean, we do have Oneiromancy, which we could use to get... Still kind of like Sabrina. We have the damage to take her out. I mean, with Sihil, we obviously would. But, yeah, we want to go Oneiromancy right off the bat. We could even go Oneiromancy into Redanian Archer. Yeah, but that would mostly be a way to take out Sabrina, and if we don't have a way to get Sabrina as well, then that's not nearly as valuable. So, I mean, War Chariot has Zeal, so we can use it on the same turn that we get it out there, and it doesn't have any targets at the moment, so yeah, I think we just go Redanian Knight. Not great in short rounds, and this is a relatively short round 3, so not thrilled about them, but still should be worth a decent amount of points by the time everything is said and done. Hoakim is a solid point slam, though, but that means that whatever they get here, a Slave Hunter, given how it does have resilience, we have the option of dealing 10 damage to it with Tesham Mutna Sword, which won't be enough to remove it. It would get it into removal range for Sihil, though. So, I mean, if they try to damage our Redanian Knight to prevent it from getting additional boosts, it would deal some damage to the Slave Hunter, and then it would be in removal range with Tesham Mutna Sword, as long as they don't also proc this Assimilate on their next turn, so many questions about how we want to go about doing that. I do wonder if this might be the right time to break out our Oneiromancy, but I think we still... The earlier we play the Redanian Knights, the better they become. So I think we still go for that. We aren't going to have much time to use whatever it is we get with Oneiromancy. Okay, they're actually going after Hoakim, and then they'll probably coup de grace him, if they have it. No, Mage Torturer. Okay, so let's see then. You are a potential Sihil target, although at this point Sihil is just 7 damage. I mean, at that point, it's been set up a lot, so 7 damage is solid. But might this be time for Oneiromancy? It could be. I mean, we could go Oneiromancy to get Sabrina and then damage it, but I just don't think they're going to have enough units to warrant that. Definitely not. It's not going to work out in our favor there. War Chariot at this point, the bleeding is not going to have a lot of time to proc. So I'm not loving that either, to tell you the truth. I think it might even be a Redanian Archer. Low base power, yes, but it's at least capable of immediately dealing some damage here. And don't need to worry about the bleed on something that has Veil and therefore can't get bled. But, I mean, I suppose maybe War Chariot was still a little bit better in large part just because of the better base power. But we'll see. Okay, Terra Nova. They gave spying to someone recently, didn't they? Yep. A Redanian Knight, but that's pretty much it. And a last turn Redanian Knight is not really a recipe for success. So I think this is an engine that will continue to get boosted even after they have finished playing all of their cards. But you could just remove it altogether with Sihil. It's a little bit overkill damage. Probably would prefer to save Tesham Mutna Sword for the Slave Hunter, where it can actually get all of its damage. So we could poke you with the Redanian Archer. Do we just accept that you're going to get some boosts? Maybe we do that. Maybe we do that. What is our biggest unit right now? It is a Redanian Knight. Yeah, so if we hit their Redanian Knight, we're going to lose the armor and therefore the boost on our Redanian Knight, so I'm just not sure that's really worth it. Let's go Tesham Mutna Sword, deal a bunch of damage to you, and then just throw in some of these guys. And that's already enough, so we won't even need to use Sihil here, and so we'll just take the win. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and we'll go first. Okay, so we have Henselt. Obviously, he's amazing. In terms of siege engines, we have the Trebuchet, Foltest Pride. Also really good. We could use Henselt to get us our Raffard's Vengeance. That's not a bad option. Although we probably would like to protect those with our Donimir if possible. So what if we got rid of the Marine, maybe? And there is Donimir. Perfect. Okay. I mean, we could use the Redanian Archer. I don't love it because it does lose armor in between rounds, which means it loses its ability to gain additional charges in between rounds. So we could go for it. I mean, we do want to have some soldiers, so I suppose this is perhaps the right mix we're looking for. And of course, we can go Curse Scroll to mix things up a little bit if necessary. So I think what we start off with here is probably Donimir. And we will probably load up quite a bit in this row here. I'm thinking we probably go maybe Henselt next and use that to get our Raffard's Vengeance. And then we can go pretty crazy with playing the rest of our units. Okay, they'll go Mata. Which will give us, another siege engine. We'll take it. And a longer round probably helps us as well, because we are going to have a lot of engines on the board. So, we are investing big time in this round, but sure. Let's go for it. We have Donimir. So we'll use Henselt to get Raffard's Vengeance out here, and we'll put it in between our two soldiers. And we'll leave it at that for now. Now, obviously, because we're loading up so much on this range row, what we're really hoping they aren't about to do is use a Spring Equinox to purify all these guys and take away their resilience, because we would like for them to stick around as long as possible. Okay, Fangs the Empire, no, they're going for poison instead, it seems, so Donimir may not last long, but he at least has lasted long enough to set up this Raffard's Vengeance, which is saying something. Then, outside of that, we could continue to just go absolutely crazy here and play all of our big cards, like Foltest Pride as well. Because they will have resilience, there is something to be said for having them in round 1 and then having them in round 2 as well. Again, the risk there is that they may purify, but we're going to take a chance. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna play super aggressively. Let's use Raffard's Vengeance, and I guess we'll go Redanian Archer just to continue to mix in our siege engines and our soldiers. So unfortunately, Foltest Pride doesn't really have a great target here, but I guess we'll do that and that. Oh, we actually should have gone Curse Scroll and potentially picked up Sihil. Because with that 1 power unit down there, that would be an option for us to go that route. However, if we do it now, Curse Scroll will be the first thing we use on this turn, and this is an order ability. That means we would not have initiative with it, so yeah, should have done it at that point. I mean, we could get it in our hand and then still proceed to play something like Trollololo, which doesn't need to be set up by Sihil, and would be another soldier to put next to Raffard's Vengeance. Get this back on crew. Yeah, it's aggressive. It's very aggressive, but we'll do it. And we'll put back probably one of these siege towers. We do have a lot of our siege engines out here at the moment. That will deal some damage. Oh, that's the card we really wanted to stay on the board, though. Okay, that's unfortunate. We'll go after Fangs the Empire then, I suppose. As that is currently the lowest power card. Okay, that's not great. I'm surprised that of all the things that they could have locked there, the thing they chose to go after was the Redanian Archer. That does seem a little bit odd to me, but, I mean, sure. So, Sihil no longer has a great target. We could deal 2 damage to either this Fangs the Empire or this Van Morleheim Hunter. Mostly this Fangs the Empire would drop it down to a 1, and then Sihil is within Deathblow range. We wouldn't want to use it on this turn, because in that case we would not have the initiative, which is ideally what we'd be going for. So I think instead, see what if we kept our options open here. Now, let's do, I'm deliberately not going to take out Sabrina yet. But I'm going to play her there to at least give us that option, because that could be a great Sihil target. They're going to pass. Okay. How do we feel about that? Obviously, we'd win round 1, and we would maintain Trollololo, Raffard's Vengeance, King Henselt, Foltest Pride. Redanian Archer will remain locked, but as we were saying before, losing the armor in between rounds means that this is going to lose its ability to gain additional charges, so it was mostly a round 1 play anyway. So I think this works. I think we can make this work, for sure. Okay, so at this stage, we'd probably like to get more bronze units, or bronze guards in general, to help enable Sihil. I mean, we do have a ton of them in hand, so we're probably fine. And if anything, may in fact be able to go more aggressively on the golds. But what are we missing? Tesham Mutna's sword, War Chariot, Oneiro, things of that sort. So, I mean, I suppose we could have gone with our Curse Scroll and so Nero in order to get Sihil, rather than, well, then we would have had to have played Sihil immediately. Yeah, that's all on the side. Why don't we get rid of Siege Tower? I still think we can get better bronze engines than that. And Oneiro certainly helps enable that. Okay, so what we can do now is I think we do probably immediately go into Sihil. We could hit Sabrina, and it would damage all of you by 3. It would destroy the Van Morleheim Hunter. It would get you down to a 2, which actually means that's removal range for Sihil on our next turn. So yes, there's something to be said for waiting to hit Sabrina until there are more units in this row, but they're probably going to completely ignore the range row because they don't want to have everyone take that damage. So let's do it. Let's go, Sihil. Hit you. Question is, perhaps more so, what do we want here? Maybe we go Reinforced Ballista. And we'll use Foltest Pride, just hit you because well, there's no adjacent units in any row yet. Okay, Dandelion. Which means they'll... Yeah, it looked a little bit like they were trying to go mill. Tibor is obviously a very big unit, yes. Potentially could go Oneiro into Tesham Mutna's sword, which is 10 damage, which is not enough to get rid of him, but it is still a fair bit of damage, so... I mean, he's already done his thing, so it's not urgent, but I think we're going for the 2-0 win here. We, I think, were we a card down? We might have been 1 card down, but I mean, given how many big units we had on the board, it was more than worth it for us to push here, and I think that will continue to be the case as we can get rid of Mata, and use that to give us another unit here, and why not go for the reinforced Trebuchet, I think, and get some damage on this Tibor. Our range row is going to get very full very quickly. Oh, still Raffard's Vengeance is back. Go Redanian Knight. We are pretty much out of room, which is a little bit problematic because we would like to fit in Rivian Pikeman here. But I imagine they're going to mess with us a little bit here. Not make it so easy to just have all these engines operating. They're probably going to get rid of one of them, at least, right? And we'd kind of like to just have this Redanian Archer go away at this point. But Sihil is up to 3 damage, which means we can go after Dandelion Poet. And with that, I guess Kerack Marine Bombardment is not bad. In fact, that could set up future Sihil plays, so that's worth considering. But what if we go... Let's do Sihil. And I think... Yeah, whatever we play here is going to get locked. Bear that in mind. Maybe we do go Rivian Pikeman, since with our range row full, it's not super useful unless we think that they're going to destroy one. I guess we'll use it as our sacrificial lamb, even if it is one of, if not our best finishers. So then, let's try to hit you. What do we have on Sihil is 4 damage. That's actually already enough for us. Okay, Masquerade Ball. So yeah, more poison, and that probably means they will have some removal, in which case we probably will be able to get a little more space in this row here. Also, hold on. Oneiromancy, what are we thinking? I mean, we were saying potentially Tesham Mutna Sword, which at a 10-point T-Bore is possible to get rid of him now. So that's an option, but then again, Sihil, oh, actually on this Thirsty Dame, I think it's definitely worth doing, because this is a very, very dangerous engine. So let's get rid of you as soon as possible, and we'll go Kerack Marine. And then, with our remaining damage, I mean, Prophet is still in removal range, and we can still use Sihil to get Bombardment, so why not go that route? And we'll focus on continuing to damage T-Bore in that case. Okay, another Thirsty Dame, which immediately becomes the other unit that we would like to target, more so than this Prophet. I'm still very confused about the cards that they're choosing to target with their poison, but oh, we also, I totally forgot about Royal Decree, which it could be a War Chariot, I guess, or another Rivian Pikeman, probably Rivian Pikeman, if/when they do remove one of our other units here. But let's, first and foremost, use Sihil to take out this Thirsty Dame, and then we'll play a Bombardment, which, with so many siege engines on the board, should be worth a lot. Unfortunately, yeah, the resupply is probably not going to be a factor, because we want to make sure we get the initiative on Sihil. So, bit of a sacrifice there. We aren't going to get the additional charges on these guys, but you know what? That may not matter much. How much damage is Sihil now? It's 6. Okay, so we'll go after you then. I mean, then again, I suppose we have more damage than we need right now. Oh, we should also use this Kerack Marine ability as soon as possible. This might get locked. Not the end of the world if it does. It's not the most important of units, but there are certainly better things, yeah, for them to lock. Trollololo is a pretty big target for them. Okay, we do have room in our range row, though, now, which is very nice, because that means we do have the ability to play with Royal Decree or Oneiromancy, our other Rivian Pikeman, which will, if we can get the Death Blow, reduce the cooldown of all units in that row, which is something that we would very much like to do. Ooh. Unfortunately, no more bronze units left for Raffard's Vengeance. Was perhaps competing a little bit with Sihil for that, but okay. So, why don't we start doing some more boosting here, and let's not put all the boosts on Henselt. Boost some stuff over on that side. We'll... Oh, I guess we're not going to initiative here. Oh, right. I was thinking there's a reason for that. Damage you. I should have waited, because the plan was to go... Not you. Plan was... Nope, nah, wrong card. That was supposed to be the Rivian Pikeman. For some reason, I thought that looked like a Rivian Pikeman. Okay, we should be fine here either way. We have a humongous lead. Obviously, that is a little disappointing, but we'll make do. Misclicks and all, the Imperial Golem will get damaged by the power of the card that we were intending to play. And at this point, Sihil has enough damage to remove anything but the Imperial Golem, which we'd probably like to do here to set up Bombardment. And then we'll finish with Oneiro in this round. Let's go this route, and I guess we'll go after the Fangs of the Empire is the biggest unit that we can actually destroy. Then we do this, which should deal a lot of damage again. It does mean we're missing out on the resupply, but we needed the initiative to power up Sihil. Okay, Cantarella. Tesham Mutna's sword. We actually don't have as many statuses because a lot of these cards got carried over from the previous round, and so they lost their resilience after having done that. What did they go for? The reinforced trebuchet that we put the boost on from the Kerack Marine, which is something. But, okay. So now why don't we go for the reinforced Ballista, which is going to destroy you. And then, well, I guess this is going to be overkill. I was going to say we go Rivian Pikeman now, but then again, is this even necessary at this stage, or would we prefer to get a War Chariot down here and have this ready to go for the next round as something that has the carryover remaining? Do we have a crew pocket to put you into? Not really, actually. So, maybe we just might even go for a reinforced Ballista in that case. Might even go for this. Hit you. Get boosted. And that might be the last card we're looking to play, because we do have Sihil at this point because we have no other bronze units in our hand, or bronze cards of any variety. It means Sihil is just a pure 7 damage with no additional setup. Or won't go back into our hand or anything like that. It would be the final Sihil we play, which I'm not necessarily sure we want to do here. I mean, they have 2 cards. What's the probability they can catch up to us here? Probably pretty low. Alright, maybe we just go all in here. Why not, right? So, we'll deal the damage. We don't care about the initiative on Sihil at this stage. Might as well go leader ability here. And get some more damage. Sihil is 7. So, I mean, technically speaking, don't even need this reinforced Ballista. We could just do this. Pick you out. And hopefully call it a day. And they realize there is no way they're going to catch us here, so they just pass and give us the win. So there's a look at a Northern Realms siege deck for the new Entrench seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.